Let's go to Paul calling in from Texas. Paul, what's your question for Adriel?
I just had a question about 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10 about the judgment that Paul is talking about there, if that is judgment for all people or Christians, or how does that work with the forgiveness that Christians are supposed to have?
Mm-hmm. Excellent question. That is, I would say, a judgment for all people. So, sometimes people will differentiate between the great white throne judgment. They'll say that's just for non-believers, and then there's another judgment for believers, the Bema seat judgment. I think in the Bible, those are the same judgment. So Paul is saying, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ. And that all there, I think, is everybody, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. Now, you also see this at the very end of the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 20 in verse 11. John says, "Then I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. From his presence earth and sky fled away, and no place was found for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne. And the books were opened. Then another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged by what was written in the books according to what they had done. And the sea gave up the dead who were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them. And they were judged, each one of them, according to what they had done." And so here again, I think it's talking about the same judgment there, includes everyone. Other passages you might want to look at, Paul, if you have a pen, or you can even listen back to this broadcast, through podcasts or whatnot, is Acts chapter 17, verse 31. And Romans chapter 14, verses 10 through 12. Both of those texts seem to indicate that this is a judgment for everyone. And it's going to be a detailed accounting, right? I mean, it seems like our works are going to be inspected. And for believers, for those who are in Christ, there is going to be, rewards. Now, we don't exactly know what that entails entirely, how that's going to look, but it does seem like God is going to bless in a special way his church, his people, that there are going to be rewards for faithfulness. But here's what I would want to say to you is that believers, when it comes to the judgment, are told that they can be confident. Paul says in Romans chapter 8, right, there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ. It's as if we've already been justified, been accepted at the judgment. And isn't that what Jesus himself said in John chapter 5, verse 24, when he talks about the judgment there? He says, "The one who believes in me has already passed from death to life and does not enter into judgment," which I don't think means, we're not going to stand before God at the judgment seat. It means that we're not going to be condemned. We can't be, because Christ has borne our condemnation. And this is why John says, Paul, in 1 John chapter 4, verse 17, that we can have confidence on the day of judgment. That confidence is not rooted in our righteousness per se. It's rooted in the love of God exhibited to us, given to us in his Son, Jesus Christ. And so, for believers, we have already passed from death to life through Jesus Christ and his gospel. We don't enter into judgment, but we will stand before the Lord, and there will be a reward for our good works, the things that we did in service to the Lord. But we're not going to be condemned because we have Jesus. Thanks for your question.